Welcome to Kayan Frequency, where we explore how mind, body, and culture connect in the evolving landscape of wellness in the UAE. Today, we're diving into a popular subject, longevity. We don't just mean living longer, but actually we mean living better. And what does that look like? We'll explore the difference between biohacking and true longevity, and what functional medicine really looks like, and how we can optimize our health in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and beyond, so that we live longer, better, and healthier. So today, I'd like to introduce myself to you. So I'm Dr. Mishkat Shehata. I'm a globally recognized longevity physician and a strategist. I'm the Chief Longevity Officer of Omics Clinic in Dubai, and the Chief Medical Officer of Connected Life, a health tech startup. I'm also the founder of my advisory firm and consulting in longevity, and I'm the Vice President and founding member of the Emirates Lifestyle and Longevity Medicine Society. I serve on the executive committee of the World Lifestyle Medicine Organization, representing the UAE and the MENA region, and I'm a faculty member of the Geneva College of Longevity Science. I helped establish the largest longevity clinic in the GCC, Pura Longevity Clinic, and I am here today with the wonderful Garineh Serpekia, who also joined me at the Pura Longevity Clinic, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Okay, so I'm Garineh Serpekia. I am National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach and Applied Functional Medicine Certified Practitioner. Currently serving as Associate Director of Coaching at Pura Longevity. And previously, I founded my company, Gratifying Wellness, where I delivered corporate wellness programs and one-to-one coaching for those with chronic diseases and autoimmune diseases specifically, to improve their health through personalized, lifestyle-based care rooted in functional medicine. We'll start with...
So we have...
Rapid fire now?
Yes, so I'm excited.
Let's start with the questions. Okay, I'll ask you the first one.
Sure.
Lab test or lifestyle tweak?
That's a good one. Okay, I'm going to go with lifestyle tweak because you can really feel the difference pretty quickly, but follow it always with a lab test so that you're directing your lifestyle tweak with precision.
Nice one. All right.
Okay, so your turn. Sleep tracking or stress tracking? Which one?
I would say stress tracking because sleep is part of the stress resilience. So if you are tracking your stress, it means you are working on stress resilience, coping mechanisms, quality of sleep, movement, and all of the lifestyle factors that are important.
True. Like how many times do we see patients and clients in the clinic and they're saying, I can't sleep because I'm thinking so much because I'm stressed out.
Exactly.
And it's like this vicious circle. Yeah.
The busy mind, that's a problem, of course,
for
insomnia.
True.
Okay, 10K steps or strength training?
Strength training. For me, like muscle is your longevity currency, guys. If you're not building muscle and you're not maintaining it, you're not going to age as well as you could be. So for me, strength training over 10K steps every single day, but definitely make sure that you keep walking still. So maybe both, yeah. But prioritize strength training.
Yeah, I would say yes, strength training for sure, a structured workout and movement throughout the day, whatever it looks like.
Yes. Okay, green juice or protein shake?
Oh, okay.
I think I know your answer for that one.
Well, I would go with the green juice because they are loaded with phytonutrients and antioxidants, and they are actually whole foods comparing to most of the protein shakes available in the market, adding to the toxin load.
Interesting. So I would actually answer that differently. I would agree with you with the green juice, but protein, if you have a good protein shake that is free from contaminants, that is from a vegan source because it's more anti-inflammatory, then I would go with that if you're not able to meet your protein goals from your diet.
If you are exercising, yes, definitely. Yeah. If you are exercising, you need to build the muscles and you're not getting adequate protein, then yes. But the problem I'm facing, majority of people, they buy very commercial whey protein, type of protein shakes. So if that's your go-to, no, I prefer a green juice. Natural, you just juice the ingredients and drink that.
Fair.
All right, so let me ask you, NAD plus booster or NAD plus booster or antioxidant supplement?
I love this question because everybody's obsessed with NAD, and I think it's pretty like just blanket statement, take NAD and age well. That is completely not true. Yes, NAD is a precursor for energy, but if you don't know, for example, that you have cancer lurking somewhere, it can actually help it grow. So it's pretty dangerous if you're not doing your checks before. So for me, blanket statement, if I'm going to choose one or the other, that's a safe option. I would go with an antioxidant supplement, and I would pick glutathione actually, because it's the master antioxidant of our body. So that would really help you like fight oxidative stress, which is what damages your DNA and makes you age more.
Yeah.
So glutathione. Right. For you, I have a question. Movement for daily rest or meditation?
I would choose movement because movement resets your mood, improves your blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. It boosts your, of course, your immune system. So movement is really important that we could focus on that every day, even more than the meditation.
True. I like that so much. And actually, movement would boost something called the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps you feel better in your health and helps improve your cognitive function and helps you manage your stress better.
Yes.
And your endorphins being boosted, that all of that helps. So you get a double whammy, I guess, of a benefit with movement over meditation.
I mean, and most
But
people,
meditation is still important.
of course, meditation is important, but most people don't understand like movement. For example, just gentle walking.
Yeah.
45 minutes, 4 times a week is equivalent to using SSRI antidepressant. So
Correct.
it really boosts the mood. So we need to keep moving.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. I love that.
All right. So let me ask you, epigenetic diet or everything in moderation diet?
I would actually go with an epigenetic diet because you then know exactly what works and what doesn't work as much as possible. It's not a perfect science, for sure, no. But we do know enough to know that we should be prioritizing certain vitamins or minerals or macros like protein, carbs, and fats to help us improve our insulin sensitivity, reduce our inflammation, improve our cognitive function, help us age better. So all of these you can know in a more precise way by following an epigenetic diet and follow what works for you. But I always like to say 80-20 rule. Like, it's going to be your birthday. You're going to want to have cake, right? You're not going to want to have an epigenetically tailored cake for your birthday. I think that's pretty sad. So you just living a little, 80% of the time whole foods, 20% of the time soul foods, I think is like a really good sweet spot to live our lives.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that because when you know epigenetically what nutrients you need more, then you can tailor your diet better because everybody knows we need the leafy greens.
Yeah.
But if you know you have the SNPs for the MTHFR or MTHFD, then you really need to be eating your greens every day.
Yes.
So that motivates you to choose better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm gonna spell out SNPs for everyone. So SNPs are single nucleotide polymorphisms, and they're variants that happen in your DNA that help we're going to come to epigenetics, but it basically helps you understand how your environment interacts with your genes to be expressed. So that's it. They're important to know. Okay.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. Final one in this rapid fire. Digital detox or blue light filter?
I would go with digital detox. Yes.
I agree.
Yes. So what we do to wind down in the evening really matters to lower the cortisol, really boost the melatonin and have a restful quality of sleep. Yeah. Blue light filters, okay, can help. It's one thing, one item, but it should not be the quick fix that we rely on and continuously be working on the laptop, replying to emails or scrolling on social media, which subconsciously affects your cortisol levels. So just go with a digital detox.
I agree.
1
100%.
hour before sleep. That would be enough.
Yes, exactly. And I think, even if, some people are always saying like, oh my God, I really need to finish some emails or whatever. Try to switch off as much as you can. But if you do really need to, maybe wear some blue light blocking glasses or put a blue light filter on your phone or do both just so that it doesn't disrupt your melatonin as much.
Yes.
So, yeah, cool. Great. So next part of our chat today is sort of the science of longevity a little bit and how we can define the difference between biohacking and longevity. So what the difference is and where they overlap. And for me, biohacking and longevity have an overlap in that there is a component of hacking in longevity, which is where, for example, you're using your saunas or your ice baths or your red light therapy. But when there is more evidence for those, they sit more deeply into longevity. Whereas in biohacking, the main focus is trying to push boundaries and see what works and what doesn't work. And usually N equals 1. People are trying different things on themselves. One thing could work for one person, not so much the other. There's not enough evidence behind them, but there is still some benefit. But there could also be some harmful byproducts. But with longevity, it's more than just, supplement stacking and using your regenerative therapies. Longevity sits primarily in trying to have a foundation of prevention, in understanding I like to say, I need to figure out what's going to kill you before I optimize for you. So figuring out what those things are in a prevention base, looking at your heart, your brain, your lungs, your muscles, your bone density, all of that, and then adding on a layer of lifestyle habits and changes as a foundation, and then building on that with functional, looking deeper into your root cause analysis, and then adding on regenerative therapies like stem cells, exosomes, peptides, and then you put all of that together with some biohacking interventions like your saunas, your cryotherapy, your red light therapy, your hyperbaric oxygen. So putting all of that together is longevity. Biohacking sits in a small piece of it.
Exactly.
And I think it's really important for us to do as much as we can of them, but really knowing your numbers and your prevention and what your diagnostics look like, your CT, your MRI, your X-rays, and your blood work for sure, and then adding on the rest and making those lifestyle changes, because these will give you the most benefit.
Exactly. And I like how you started the sequence, because I think we should follow that. Before getting into biohacking, we need to make sure your baseline health is well, you don't have any functional imbalances, your lifestyle is optimized, and then you add on the biohacking tools.
Correct. And I find biohackers come to me and they're on like so many supplements and they're interacting with each other.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, let's just take a step back. And then you find other biohackers who are doing a phenomenal job. And you're like, wow, you're doing really well. So it just is all about getting that right fit for what you need and knowing and doing your own research as well, as much as you can. But also finding the right clinics and finding the right health professionals that can help you. Yes. So I want to ask you, Garineh, how would you define true longevity? Is it years of life lived or the quality of life, or both?
Well, it has an element of both, but I think health span, which are the years that you live without chronic diseases, is more important and relevant to longevity. Because what's the point of living longer if you are struggling with your health?
Exactly. Exactly.
There's no point. And to live actual true longevity, again, just like we discussed earlier, lifestyle should be definitely first thing to work on, and taking the checks for preventive view of what's happening, possible imbalances and possible ways to better optimize your health, so that when you are aging in a healthy way. Many people, I hear this all the time, they are still in their 40s and 50s and they are complaining and they have some symptoms and they say it's aging, when in reality it's just accumulation of all the bad habits in the last 10, 20 years, and now you can see the effect.
Yeah.
So lifestyle is important, and then having, the right support from healthcare professionals who dig deep to optimize health.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And I think that brings me, the Healthspan piece I love, because it's sort of like, what do you want to be doing when you're 90 or 100? And this brings me to the 2 whys, which I really like. And the 2 whys, I think we both use that in our practice, and I'd love to share it with everyone today, because we always ask our clients or patients what their 2 whys are. So the first why is, why do they want to do it? Which is, what does your 90-year self look like? What do you want to be doing when you're 90? Is it, do you still want to be traveling? Do you want to be picking up your grandkids and playing football with them? What does your 90 look like, or 100 look like? And the other why is then sort of our job to say, hey, this is why you need to do it from a scientific standpoint, because XYZ is happening in your body right now. And if we don't fix it, then you're going to end up here. Or if we do fix it, then you're going to end up here. So those are the two whys the two why model that we use in our practice, and I really love that.
Yes, and adding to that, having sense of purpose is linked to longevity.
Absolutely.
And when you have the clarity of your ikigai.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it does take some time and some reflection, deep reflection into what brings you joy, what you can contribute to the community, the skills that you have. And you bring it all together to find the purpose of why you are on this earth, living this life now. And that would guide you and motivate you to take the actions you need to improve your health. Because without sense of purpose, why should I sleep early? Why should I take this supplement? Why should I go for the DEXA scan, for example? Like if I don't really have a strong sense of why I'm here on earth.
Exactly. I love that so much. And I mean, it's one of the things that in a lot of the blue zones you find, like the Ikigai comes from the Okinawan population in Japan who lives over 100. And they have an Ikigai, and it's that intersection, like you said, what you love, what the world needs, and what the world can pay you for. Yeah. And right in the center of that is your Ikigai. So find your Ikigai, guys.
Really important.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd love for you to answer this question to help people understand what functional medicine really is.
So functional medicine is going deeper and deeper into the root causes of the imbalances and the symptoms you have. So always remember a tree. When you look at a tree, you see the branches, you see the leaves. What you don't see are the roots that are expand, and sometimes they are much bigger than the leaves that you see on the outside. So when you have any symptoms or not feeling your best, especially when these are not being fully addressed by conventional medicine, then it's time to dig deeper. What is causing your fatigue, your brain fog, your IBS symptoms?
I love that. Because it's deeper than that. It's not a diagnosis.
It's not a
just
diagnosis.
On its own. Yeah.
Exactly. So at that time, it is worth to invest into functional tests. And you don't need to do multiple tests in the same time.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's some of the negative parts, the negative reputation of functional medicine, that there are so many tests and then you get so many supplements. You don't actually need to do that. Based on your history, based on your symptoms that you have, your current lifestyle, then the right practitioner would advise you which functional tests are important in your case. And then you start working with the treatment plans to address the imbalances that are found in the tests.
Correct.
So it's always digging into the root causes. What is causing this? What else could be a factor? And usually there are multiple factors because the body is a whole interconnected unit. You cannot separate the ears from your gut, from your skin. They are all connected. So we need to address everything through the functional medicine lens. Another point when assessing lab tests, blood tests, functional medicine point of view is different because we don't look at what's in the normal range because that range is just an average and for healthy and unhealthy population.
Correct.
We want to be at optimal levels. So if a marker relates to inflammation, then we want it as low as possible. If it's a nutrient-related marker, then we want it as high as possible, but not to the toxic level. So everything should be at the proper functional dose and balance.
Correct. I fully agree with that. And I love also because we do this often as well, is when you're pairing the functional test with the optimal ranges testing. So let's say, for example, a functional test could be like a gut microbiome test or a Dutch plus test for your hormones. And you're pairing it with your lab biomarkers that you're doing in your local lab and looking at the optimal ranges. And then we also add on a layer of epigenetic tests because which we call test pairing. So we can see where your gene SNPs, your variants that are affecting your inflammation pathway, for example. And then we can hone in on how we optimize that in your gut because inflammation sits in the gut, and looking at your inflammation panel from your blood. So putting all of these together gives you the best chance of having the right protocol and treatment plan from your healthcare provider.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Well, that brings to the next question. So what kinds of clinics and tests exist today, and what should people actually be looking for?
That's a very good question. So in the UAE, we have so many different clinics, very longevity clinics, but then they sit from aesthetics, wellness spas, med spas, all the way to preventive and full-blown like longevity clinics, like for example, Pura Longevity Clinic, which we set up. We have advanced diagnostics, and you also have functional testing, epigenetic testing, and then your interventions. That would be the perfect setup. That doesn't exist in a lot of places. In some countries worldwide, you do have those, like Fountain Life, for example, is a good example in the US. But really what you're looking for is you want to know if the clinic, even if they don't have it in-house, if they provide it as a service for you to do your diagnostics. So like your full body MRI, really important for you to screen top to toe to see what's going on. Doing your DEXA is also important. So a clinic that has a DEXA scan, which is an X-ray of your bones and your body composition, is really key. And looks at your muscle, it looks at your fat percentage, and also looks at your bone density. Now, you want more by looking at your heart. So a clinic that would offer you like a CT calcium score, for example, to check if there's any heart disease would be really, really good to have. And then also adding on like your lung function, so your spirometry testing, your VO2 max, which is an indicator of how well your heart and lungs are working, and your what we call cardiopulmonary fitness, so how well you're able to run, let's say. And putting all of these together would give you the perfect clinic. So if a clinic offers you some of these diagnostics, plus functional testing, plus someone who can help you with your lifestyle, prescribe the right supplements, that would be the perfect setup. And a clinic that also safely delivers treatments like hyperbaric oxygen, ozone therapy, plasmapheresis, which is the exchange of your plasma to help rid you of toxins and inflammation and heavy metals, as well as offer different therapies like intravenous therapies safely. These are all really great. So I'd like to, maybe not mention other clinic names, but generally, if the clinics have that type of service, then that's a great clinic to visit.
Yes. I think it's very important that the tests that are being done have an action plan associated with it.
Correct.
Because what's the point of doing the test
testing and
having a report, which many clinics do at the moment, and then you are left on your own and feeling overwhelmed of what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think what I'll add to that is sort of what type of doctor should you be looking for in those clinics? So if a doctor is a functional medicine doctor with how to check if they are certified, they should be IFMCP certified or SAFM certified. Any others that you want to mention from functional?
These are the main ones. Yes. But they should be up to date with all the research, attending the conferences, really understand the functional tests and the treatment plans.
Yeah, and they should have a team of a dietitian there. If not, you need to find one who uses a functional medicine approach, a health coach, super, super important, because that's where the magic happens, guys. If you're not troubleshooting and touching base with your health coach to work on your mindset and work on your habit formation, then it's really tricky to make all those changes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. And I think what I want to talk about now is sort of how can people focus on their longevity in their 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s. So for me, I would start within I would even push it back. I'd push it back to like childhood, like you have kids. Setting those habits really early is critical, because if they know how to eat well, they know how to set their boundaries, they know how to manage their big emotions when they're really young and, not fall into a tantrum state. They know that sleeping early is important and they do that. It sets them up for life, So really honing in on that early on. In the 20s, I would just reinforce those habits. In the 30s, I think 30s are pretty chaotic for a lot of people. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe I'm in my 30s.
I think stress levels are high in the 30s.
So you're like trying to like build up your life to be this like life that you want to have forever. And so it can be, people put a lot of pressure on themselves in their 30s to do a lot, maybe travel a lot, achieve careers, professional success. So have, long-lasting relationships, friendships. So that can be a lot of stress on a lot of people. And it's something I see often in clinic and outside, just even in my personal life. Like everybody's stressed about something or another. So I would say in your 30s, focusing on your stress is really key. What about the 40s and 50s? What would you prioritize?
40s, I would say muscle.
I agree.
We need to work on having really strong muscles that would support the bones and also support blood sugar balance. So this would be key for men and women. And this is a message for women because usually men are excited about, when you say strength training, yes, they are ready for weightlifting. Women, not as much, but it is really important for us. And start earlier. If you start from your 30s and continue, that's even better. But it's never too late to start.
Yeah. I would add hormones to the 40s.
Yes.
Because that's when things are going to start like going in the decline. So start really focusing on hormone balance as well is really key in the 40s. What about the 50s? I would focus more on brain
cognitive, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would say cognitive health and social connections.
Yes.
Because loneliness kills.
It kills. That is so true. It's like, it's compared to smoking, by the way, guys. If you weren't aware, it's as bad as smoking. So, but that doesn't mean that you're going for shisha with your friends. It offsets the effects,
Good one.
That's not girl math or boy math or any kind of math. So
so I would say
that.
Cognitive health. So in terms of having hobbies, learning new skills, learning a language, or doing some Sudoku, for example.
Yes.
So these are all important. And then for social connections, have a close knit of friends or family, and also be socially active to go out, be part of communities.
Yeah.
And that keeps you living younger, actually, and feeling younger.
Yeah. I agree with that completely. Yeah. So we touched on epigenetics a little while back, and I just want to take a second to kind of explain it in a little bit more detail and very simply for everyone to understand. So DNA is your blueprint for your life, right? And your epigenetics is essentially the instruction manual that will determine how that blueprint is expressed or understood, okay? And if we imagine it's like a piano, your DNA is a piano, and your epigenetics is you playing that piano. And you can either play it to create noise, which is disease, or you can play it to create music, which is health.
Beautiful.
So it's a really simple way that I like to explain to my clients. And it's essentially your lifestyle will trigger expression or silencing of certain genes in your body. So things like stress will silence genes that are good for you, or they'll activate genes that are bad for you, that are going to give you disease. Conversely, exercise will activate the repair genes in your body and help you live longer and healthier. So that's essentially what it is. So when we say genes are not your destiny, it's definitely true. It's lifestyle that actually... So genes like load the gun. I'm sure you've seen this somewhere on a meme online. Genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. And that's so true. So it's really critical to not give up. And all of these things are actually reversible. So it doesn't mean that because you're epigenetically showing disease because you have symptoms, it doesn't mean that that's going to be you forever. You can actually reverse that by changing your lifestyle, and actually then works on your DNA. Literally, your food and your exercise and your sleep tell your DNA what to do.
Yes.
True. And then the symptoms will disappear.
Lifestyle is powerful. 80% of chronic diseases can be prevented or reversed.
Correct.
With your everyday lifestyle choices.
Correct. Yes. Exactly.
And when we say lifestyle, it's your food, your sleep, your movement, stress coping, and toxin overload, and also social connections and sense of purpose.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, so I think people want to learn about supplements. I'm sure there's like a big craze. Everybody's like, what supplement should I take? This is like, if you open my WhatsApp today, you'll find like my family and friends messaging me. Is this supplement good?
Yeah.
Is this brand okay? Should I be taking this? And I'm like, let's just take a step back. Like, what symptoms do you have? Have you done your blood test? Can I have a look at your blood test? I'm going to blindly prescribe you supplements. But there are a few that we need regardless of age. Okay. So I want to talk about those. And then I want us to teach people how to select the right supplements.
Yes.
Okay. But for me, the critical ones are 4. The famous 4 that, we both prescribe, we both recommend. And that's omega-3, magnesium, vitamin D, and K2, and B complex. But you still need to do your blood test for those. And each one is specific. So your omega-3, there's different types. There's EPA, DHA. I'm not going to get into too much detail of that. And they come from different sources, and you'll need different dosages based on your genetics and your picture of health at the moment. The next is magnesium, and there's 7 different types of magnesium. Each one does different things. So the magnesium for you would be specific to what you have, whether it's stress or sleep issues or constipation or general health or muscle relaxation, muscle cramps, exactly. Then you have vitamin D3, K2. That's standard for everyone, but the dose will vary depending on your blood work for your optimal ranges of vitamin D and not conventional ranges. And finally, your B complex needs to be methylated to bypass any epigenetic, like MTHFR gene mutation, which affects your activation of inactive to active forms of B vitamins. And that will, again, determine, if you're not done your blood test, it's safer to go with a methylated form, but always check your levels. Because, for example, I have patients that are blindly given B12, and then we check their levels and it's super high because they actually have undiagnosed small intestinal bacterial overgrowth and gut dysbiosis that actually causes B12 because the bacteria produce B12 and they're like overloading on B12. So knowing your blood work before you take any of the 4 is really important. Would you add any more?
I agree with those, that I want to highlight importance of magnesium and the vitamin D with K2 even for all ages.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I mean, living in UAE, people think, oh, it's always sunny and warm, but we rarely actually go out in the sun.
Yes.
Plus with the air pollution and the quality, so we're not actually absorbing vitamin D. So it is important to have it, but again, the dose is different for each, so you need to gauge that. Magnesium is another important supplement to take because the soil is depleted of minerals. So we're not getting as much from the food, unfortunately. Plus, our stressful lifestyle depletes the magnesium because we are using the magnesium to synthesize the cortisol.
Correct.
So that means, if you are living stressed lifestyle, then you do need more of the magnesium. So these are important ones to take. But now we come to the issue of choosing. Especially that supplements are available everywhere. Anybody can go to any pharmacy and even supermarket to buy supplements.
Yes.
So how can you choose the right one? First of all, you need to know what is it that you need and how much, what's the dose that you need. So don't take random supplements for sure. Then you need to check the quality of the supplement. So how do you do that? You need to choose reputable brands that do third-party testing, and they can show you certificate of analysis. So are the ingredients really active and what they claim to be in the bottle? Are they clear from heavy metals, from other toxins and chemicals? So the quality matters. You don't want to be taking supplements to be healthy and actually
adding to the problem.
Yes, adding to the problem.
Exactly.
Following the GMP, so good manufacturing practices also would be important. And usually you will find this information if you research a bit about the brand. So before you buy that supplement. The next point would be the bioavailability, the forms of the nutrients. So for example, you mentioned the B complex. It needs to be the methylated ones to bypass the need for those with MTHFR, for example, who cannot activate those B vitamins. But also the magnesium. So magnesium, what type it is? The bisglycinate, for example, is better than just the glycinate. It's better than, the oxide. So
definitely. Yeah, I see a lot of people taking oxide and citrate. I'm like, why?
Why?
What are you doing with that? But I mean, there's combinations of 7 together that work better.
Yes.
But if you're going to take a magnesium, I would recommend a bisglycinate because that's the easiest best absorbed. But if you have sleep issues or stress issues, then the only one that will actually cross what we call the blood-brain barrier, so from your blood through into your brain and act on it directly, is L-threonate. And that one is one that I prescribe almost all the time because everyone is stressed and has sleep issues. Yes. But that's a really good one to take as well, and both to be taken at night.
Exactly. And check the ingredients. Just like you should be reading the ingredients of food products, you should read the ingredients of supplements and avoid those with, so many unnecessary binders and fillers and flavoring and colorings. And that's why I would choose more of capsule or soft gel form over
Gummies, yes.
Yeah.
Gummies are
Or
popular. Yeah.
Or tablets, which could be difficult to digest and absorb the nutrients
Correct.
if your digestion is already compromised and you have issues.
Exactly.
So the form, to be
Makes a
chosen
difference.
widely. Yes,
Yeah.
wisely.
And liposomal, if you have
Yes.
that available to you as well, then that's really good because it's a better absorbed form.
Yes.
Okay. We're coming to the last part of our
Yes.
episode today. I'm sad. This is like flying. Time is flying when you're having fun. Okay, so we're going to bust some myths for you guys today. And they're all around longevity and functional medicine. Okay, so quick, yani yes or no, true or false.
Yes.
So I'll ask you the first one. Longevity means aiming to live past 100. True or false?
False. It's about the quality of your life, not the years of your life. So focus on health span, not lifespan.
Love it. Okay.
Let me ask you then,
Yeah,
what about genetics? Do they determine your health span?
False. We just said yes. So genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So genes are not your destiny for sure. Your lifestyle will make the best impact for your health. Okay, my turn. Functional medicine is only for people who are sick or symptomatic.
False. So I would say if you have lingering, even mild symptoms, then it's worth investigating if you didn't get the proper treatment from a conventional point of view. And also, if you're looking to optimize your health, you need to know what may be compromising your health and have some imbalances. So the gut microbiome is a basic one, for example. And if you're going through fertility issues or perimenopause, menopause, then Dutch test would be very important. You know, so there are a few functional tests would be great to have so that you don't suffer in the future. So,
Correct.
yes.
I love that. Prevention is better than cure, 100%. And prevention and early detection. Yani if you have no symptoms and you're actually feeling okay, then get some tests done and see what's on a micro level, what's working and what's not working. And by the way, I find a lot of people normalize symptoms. This is a tricky one. People are like suffering with stress symptoms. They're suffering with bloating. They're suffering with fatigue because it's been happening for so long. They think it's normal. And then when they de-bloat, they're like, oh, wow, I was bloated. I'm like, seriously? How did you not know?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, I have so much more energy. I didn't realize I could have so much energy. Yeah, of course, because you were fatigued, but you normalize.
Yes.
So even if you think you're feeling okay, maybe you could be feeling better.
Yes, you create a new normal.
Yes, exactly.
That is more vibrant, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, let me ask you, longevity is all about diet and exercise.
False. False. I think we busted that myth pretty quickly. Yeah. So we have that framework that we use for all our clients, and we call it senses. And it's sleep, exercise, nutrition, stress management, environmental toxin exposure reduction, and social connections. And those are the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. And you build on those. But if you don't get those 6 right, you don't work on each of those, then you're not living your 100%. So that's really key.
100%.
So lab tests are only useful if you're unwell.
No, not necessarily. So I would say false to that. I would really encourage people to do the annual check.
Yes.
It's very simple. It's available in all insurances. Just go to the doctor, have a baseline, and monitor and see the patterns. That would also guide you if something is going off track, so you can start the intervention earlier.
I agree. I like 6 monthly checks even more. I do my blood work every 6 months, and it's really important because annual at the very minimum, but if you can do twice a year, that would be even better because you can kind of see what's tracking and where your trends are going, and you can pick up things going wrong earlier. So that would be my recommendation. Standard is every year, but if you can do every 6 months, that's even better. We're aiming for the stars, guys. Okay.
Yes. Okay, the last myth. Investing in longevity is too expensive and inaccessible.
False. Honestly, I think longevity is getting this reputation where it's related to wellness and luxury and spas, and it's only for the high net worth individuals, the rich and the famous. And yes, in some instances, it is that because some clinics only cater to those that demographic. But really, the true longevity that you can achieve is through the things that are free and simple to do. And it's getting your sleep right, eating right, moving every day and, ridding yourself of toxins in a cheap and effective way as much as possible, and hanging out with your family and friends and working on something that you love doing and finding your purpose, and managing your stress, doing your breath work, doing your meditation, or going on a silent retreat for like a few days. Honestly, I go to the beach and I'm just like, khalas. I'm chill, and it's beautiful. It's simple. Your feet are in the sand, in the ground. You're grounding yourself. You're ridding yourself of that negative energy that you may have built up throughout the day of stress and dealing with the day to day. And you're hearing the beauty of the waves, and you're seeing the beauty of nature, and all of that is really relaxing, and it's completely free.
Exactly. You don't need earthing blankets and bed sheets if you can just walk barefoot on the beach or on the grass. You don't need the red light therapy panels if you just go outside during sunrise, and be outside. Yeah. So there are many things you can do to biohack and support your longevity in a free way, and they are just part of your lifestyle that you need to maintain every day.
True. I think the most expensive piece potentially in that would be ridding yourself of toxins, because let's face it, organic is much more expensive than non-organic produce. So try to where you can. And non-toxic household products and personal care products are more expensive.
I would argue with that. Just use.
Please tell me where you found cheap ones.
Well, I just use baking soda and just simple white vinegar and maybe add a few drops of essential oils. I've been using this for the last 12 years. I don't buy any products for house cleaning. Even personal care products are natural as much as possible.
True.
Using the nabulsi, the olive oil-based soaps, for example. Yes. So simple things you can do. And even organic, if you're buying whole food, real food, and you can check, the discounts available in the market, then you can get good value for the money. Yeah. And then buy whole food, not products, because products would be more expensive if they are labeled organic and they have the fancy packaging.
True.
So that's it.
So before we wrap up today, I want you to give our listeners today one piece of advice that they should start working on for their longevity. What would that be?
I would say don't overwhelm yourself. Focus on one small thing that you can do and build the consistency for it. And then you can add on more layers and add on more habits. So if you're focused on sleep, just make sure you're going to sleep at a consistent scheduled time and getting your 7 hours of sleep. And once you master that, then you can focus on another action. So these small steps really have accumulative impact on your health. It's amazing. It's very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. Thank you. I think for me, I would probably say get tested. As a doctor, in my mind, I'm like, I need to know what's going on. So get tested, but get your tests done that are more comprehensive, and do your functional testing. So finding a good practitioner that can help you do that and then help you make sense of it would be phenomenal. And educate. We can educate ourselves. Like, we have AI today that it's not perfect, but you can start small, and say, hey, this is, for example, what I'm looking to understand about my health. Where do I start? What should I be looking for when I'm asking the doctor questions about my tests? So that would be a really good one. There's there's an app called Open Evidence, which is actually for healthcare professionals, but it can also be used on a subscription basis by the public. And it essentially summarizes all of the research out there that is being published every single day. There's tens of thousands of papers being published every day. And if you ask it, it's an AI. You ask it, hey, what type of tests do I need that are backed by evidence for my health? I'm this age. Then it will tell you, give you a good idea. And then you go to the doctor, the clinic, and you ask them for those tests. And if they don't do them, then you find a clinic that does.
Find a clinic that does, or go directly to the lab if you would.
You can go directly to labs.
Yes.
Correct. In Dubai, you can. In Abu Dhabi as well, you can also go directly to labs. Yes. So you can connect with myself and with Garineh through social media. So my social media handle is Dr. Mishkat Shehata on Instagram and on LinkedIn as well. And yourself, Garineh?
Yeah, on Instagram, you can find me as Garineh Health Coach. And on Instagram, on LinkedIn, Garineh Serpekia, of course. You can find me and stay in touch.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you
It
for
was.
coming.
Lovely
I hope you guys
chatting
enjoyed
always.
it.
Yes.
Perfect. So look after yourselves, one step at a time, get tested, and focus on true longevity
Yes.
and not just biohacking.
Yes.
Thank you.